Old Daffy come a-knocking at my mother's door, and I heard him say, come on, mother, ain't you ready to go? Well, my mother stooped down just to buckle up her shoes, and then she counted up her calls, and she began to move. So she moved on down by the Jordan stream, and then she shouted, hallelujah, my soul has been redeemed. She said, yes,
my Lord, she said,
yes, yes,
because I
done my duties, got on my traveling shoes, 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 got on my traveling shoes. I saw old Dad came a-knocking at my father's door, and I heard him say, come on, father, ain't you ready to go? Well, my father stooped down just to buckle up his shoes, and then he counted up his scars. He began to move, and then he moved on down by the Jordan stream, and then he shouted, hallelujah, my soul has been redeemed. He said, yes,
my Lord, he said,
yes, yes,
because I
done my duties, got on my traveling shoes. Yeah, I saw old Dad come a-knocking at the sinner man's door, and I heard him say, come on, sinner, ain't you ready to go? Well, the sinner stooped down just to buckle up his shoes, and then he counted up his calls, and he began to move. He said he moved on down by the Jordan stream, and then he waded in the water about ankle deep, and the water kept rising up around his knees. He said, Lord, have mercy, won't you help me, please? And then he waded in the water about knee deep, and the water kept rising up around his thigh. He said, Lord, have mercy, I'm about to die. And then he waded in the water about thigh deep, and the water kept rising up around his waist. He said, Lord, have mercy, won't you give me grace? And then he waded in the water about waist deep, and the water kept rising up around his ribs. He said, Lord, have mercy, won't you let me live? And then he waded in the water about real deep, and the water kept rising up around his shoulder. He said, Lord, have mercy, won't you help me over? Then he waded in the water about his shoulder deep, and the water kept rising up around his neck. He said, Lord, have mercy, no, I've done my best. And then he waded in the water about neck deep, and the water kept rising up around his chin. He said, Lord, have mercy, won't you let me in? And then he waded in the water about chin deep, and the water kept rising up around his eye. He said, Lord, have mercy, I'm about to die. And then he waded in the water about eye deep, and the water kept rising up around his head. He said, Lord, have mercy, make up my dying bed. He said, no,
my Lord, he said,
no, no,
because I
ain't done my duties, ain't got no traveling shoes.